If you love Name Explain, then please consider leaving a super thanks in the comments of this video. It's a great way to make a one-time donation to the channel and help support Name Explain.
The nation of Japan and the US state of Hawaii are similar in a lot of ways, both home to breathtaking natural beauty, highlighted by mountains, luscious greenery, and eruptive volcanoes, as well as both being home to unique cultures that thrived in isolation from the rest of the world. Yet, there's another way in which they're connected, and it's a little bit odd, to say the least. There's this really odd link in their languages. Now, okay, before you think I'm going to try and clickbait you with some nonsense, I know these languages are not related. Hawaiian is a Polynesian language and part of the wider Austronesian language family, while Japanese is part of its own Japonic language family, which contains a few other smaller languages. Do not fear, I'm not going to try and give you all some crackpot theory where I try and say they're actually connected or anything like that, but there's something weirdly similar between these two languages and I just need to talk about it. I have wanted to highlight this for some time now. Over the years I've made multiple videos about Japan and the Japanese language, and a couple videos about Hawaii and the Hawaiian language. I've even talked about the link between these two before in an incredibly niche video looking into how one of Japan's biggest cultural icons ended up shouting the name of a Hawaiian king every time he uses his signature move. Every time I've ended up in a Wikipedia wormhole in relation to either the land of the rising sun or the Aloha state, I've been taken aback by this strange similarity between the two languages, and I'm seemingly not the only one, as upon researching this video I uncovered various articles and forum posts asking about it too, so I promise you, I'm not going crazy. So if they aren't related, then how are they similar? Well, to give an example, let's look at the two names of Kahoku and Kekiha. These are both settlement names and they look and sound somewhat similar to one another. It would be easy to presume that they are from the same country and language, but of course that isn't the case. Kahoku is actually the name of a city in Japan, while Kekiha is the name of a town found in Hawaii. Yep, despite sounding like they come from the same language, they're from two completely different ones. And this isn't the only example of town names sounding similar between the two. Take the Japanese Makawa and the Hawaiian Makina, or even the Japanese Hanawa and the Hawaiian Hana. There's even words like I, which sound the same in Japanese and Hawaiian but mean completely different things. Love in Japanese and food in Hawaiian. Though personally I feel love and food are one and the same. Even the most well-known piece of Hawaiian, their greeting of aloha, sounds somewhat similar to the Japanese greeting of ohio. Okay, granted they aren't identical, but they sound way more alike than bonjour and guten tag, which are both from the same larger language family. As I told you, I'm not going crazy here. There really is this weird similarity between the two languages, which is only confounded by the fact they're not only not part of the same family, but they are literally separated by the largest ocean on the planet. What on earth is going on with these two languages then? Well, the reason they sound so similar to one another is because the thing they do have in common is a similar phonology. Phonology is the part of language which is all about sound. To study phonology is to study the sounds a language makes, as well as the similar sounds and speech patterns that occur within a language and across a variety of languages. Each language has its own phonology, some way more distinctive than others. Some languages can be recognized by their phonology alone. I'm sure we've all heard an Italian impression, where the person isn't actually speaking any Italian, but just making sounds that sound Italian. That's phonology at play. Oh man, I should make a video about Italian phonology, so someone add that to the list please. But phonology can explain to us why languages sound similar to one another, even if they aren't related. And that's what's happening here with Japanese and Hawaiian. This similarity in phonology between the two languages means that both Japanese and Hawaiian have very similar rules and features when it comes to their sounds. In example, both languages have the exact same set of 5 vowel sounds, with A making an like sound in both, E making an like sound in both, I making an E like sound in both, O making an like sound in both, and U making an like sound in both. Other features they share are things like words never ending in a consonant in either language, syllables being only 1 or 2 letters long, and syllables always having to end with a vowel sound. It's these rules which explain to us why both Japanese and Hawaiian words have that ba 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 sound to them, for lack of a better word. What this means is that a Japanese speaker with a good understanding of the Latin alphabet and romanization should be able to read a Hawaiian word fairly easily, even if they aren't exactly sure what the word means, and vice versa for a Hawaiian speaker reading romanized as Japanese. Though to stress again, these languages aren't interchangeable with one another, nor mutually intelligible, like how the languages of Scandinavia are an example. They're not mutually intelligible because, once again, these languages are not related. Yet, while the languages might not have a shared history, the lands in which these languages derive from have an incredibly interesting shared history with one another. There is an extensive history of Japanese migration to Hawaii. Even to this day, Hawaii is the US state with the highest population of Japanese people. The earliest known of migrants from Japan to Hawaii were recorded in 1868, though it's highly likely Japanese people visited the land prior to this in some way, shape or form. It was in this year that around 150 Japanese people made their way to Hawaii. This was during the first year of Japan's Meiji era, and these first settlers were known as the Ganon Mono, meaning first year people. At this time, it was actually illegal for Japanese people to travel abroad, meaning these first migrants were actually illegal. Nevertheless, the two places formed a good relationship. This means that there have actually been Japanese people living in Hawaii before Hawaii was even a US state, as that happened in 1959. It was just a couple decades later when Japanese migration really took off. In 1885, around 1,000 Japanese people made their way to the land. The main thing that drove this migration was money. Japanese people heard of great work opportunities on sugarcane plantations in Hawaii. People from Hawaii were even sent to Japan to try and persuade young men to come over and work. Many Japanese men worked intense jobs cutting sugarcane, and many Japanese women became picture brides, meaning they were married off to men who'd only seen a photo of them. While it was tiring work, the Japanese people integrated well in Hawaii, with many Japanese customs, traditions, and foods becoming a mainstay in the land. Buddhism became popular there, with the Buddhist festival of Oban becoming a huge deal in Hawaii, even to this day. Likewise, many Japanese restaurants and stores opened up too, as well as Japanese language schools. Even simple things like mochi, the Japanese sweet treat, has taken on a life of its own in Hawaii. This smooth integration, however, took a turn during the Second World War, with the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. This led to many of the Japanese people in the USA being looked down upon, and tensions between Japanese Americans and other races living in the land ran high. This anti-Japanese sentiment was rife on the mainland USA, especially on the West Coast. Hawaii wasn't as bad seemingly. The Japanese there had integrated themselves into American society quite well by this point. Yet still, many saw them as potential enemies on the islands. Thankfully, anti-Japanese sentiment in Hawaii and across the USA seems to be dwindling. Today, Japanese people are one of the biggest ethnic groups in Hawaii, and at some point in its history, the largest group. And beyond Japanese people living in Hawaii, a huge amount go there on holiday. It's become one of the most popular tourist destinations for Japanese people, with the nation holding the islands in a special place in their heart, having a deep love for this island state. There's a couple reasons why I wanted to talk about the shared history between Japan and Hawaii. First off, it's really interesting. Secondly, it helped pad out this video. And thirdly, it has led to Japanese influence on the language used in Hawaii. While Hawaii now mainly speaks English, with Hawaiian words thrown in, many Japanese words have found themselves at home there, even beyond the Japanese words that have cemented themselves in wider English like karaoke and manga. Wikipedia has a whole list of Japanese loanwords used in Hawaii, featuring words like benjo, meaning toilet, teiko, meaning octopus, and even jankenpo, the Japanese term for rock, paper, scissors. I even found this glossary of Hawaiian Japanese first published in 1990, which features words like abakado for avocado, hausu for house, and nasubi for eggplant. This shows us that the Japanese language has most certainly had an impact on Hawaii, but those phonological similarities between the languages definitely predate that 19th century arrival of Japanese people in Hawaii. So while we've established that there are some really odd similarities between the two languages, what we really need to ask ourselves is, why? How did these two languages so far removed from one another end up sounding so alike? Well, in all honesty, there probably isn't no real answer. The idea of people from either of these two places visiting the other in the distant past on a tiny seafaring vessel crossing the Pacific and integrating their languages together sounds really neat, as does the idea of some kind of mysterious secret language we don't know about connecting the two of them, and in turn revealing they are all part of some huge language family we don't really know about. But in reality, it's probably just a coincidence, a sheer fluke of language. There's only so many sounds the human mouth is able to make, so it's not surprising that two languages ended up sounding similar to one another and followed similar phonological rules. And besides, the two languages aren't entirely the same. In example, Japanese has no L sound, while Hawaiian is full of them. They also have different word orders, with Japanese going subject, object, verb, and Hawaiian going verb, subject, object. But the largest difference has to be their amount of native speakers. There are thought to be around just 2,000 native Hawaiian speakers, while there are about 120 million native Japanese speakers. Hawaiian really needs to up its game, or Japanese really needs to calm down. But anyway, while nowhere near related to one another, or even identical to one another, these two languages, whose respective cultures and peoples have had a long, loving shared relationship, are undoubtedly really weirdly similar. Or maybe I'm just reading too much into it, who knows.
Name Explain depends on viewers like yourself supporting the channel financially on Patreon, so a huge thank you to everyone who does. Donating just $1 a month helps the channel amazingly and gets you bonuses including ad-free videos, exclusive content, the power to request ideas to be made into actual Name Explain videos, and your name at the end of the video with all these awesome people. Visit patreon.com/NameExplain or click the link down below to find out how you too can support the channel. Thank you. Thanks for reaching the end of the video. Why not watch another and subscribe to keep up to date on all things Name Explain. You can find myself on Instagram where I'm NameExplainYT and join the Facebook group Friends of Name Explain to talk with myself and other name nerds. All that will be linked down below. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and once again, thank you all so much.